Hi everyone. So in this video I'm talking about very important issue that a lot of new players may encounter. What to do if enemies on your map will start appearing way above your level, something that you cannot defeat no matter your skill level. Like that's my base and I'm level 26, enemies 20 level higher. There is no level of skill, no level of fancy rifle Zuka medic attacks that can overcome that. So how did that happen? I want to talk here about your map matchmaking and how it's determined. So how did that happen? Basically, every time you attack a base and defeat it, you are getting 2 victory points. If that's a player, 1 victory points with a chance to get 2 victory points if that's NPC base, so Blackguard. Different icon, that's a Blackguard. Luckily, Blackguard bases are always based on your level, so it will not go higher based on the victory points. And in the same time, victory points alone do not determine level of your enemies. They go hand by hand with your level. The good news is, the higher you go in victory points, as you know, more rewards you are getting. So there is a plus side. But how did I get trapped in here? This was intentional, but how is it normally happening? How do you get trapped like that and how to avoid it? So if we check our radar level, so you may see you can check how often the bases will appear on your map. And there is a quick formula for the timer. The time is determined by your level. So my level is 26. You multiply it by 2. It means every 52 minutes, new Blackguard or Mercenary base will appear on my map. If there are already some existing Mercenary bases, like in my case 7, the next ones will appear significantly later. So the timer goes up. More bases already is on the map. If you clear the map, the timer will go down. Therefore, you can see Blackguard, you can get a lot. If you'll be clearing it frequently, every hour or so there would be a new base, and how many there can be it's determined by your radar level and how much map you open. So those are the basics. Now what to do to avoid getting harder bases? It's determined by your victory points and your level. The rule of thumb is to keep your victory points as 10 times higher than your level. So for example, my level is 26. I'm supposed to be around 260 victory points. That's a sweet spot. That gives me bases on my level that I will be able to defeat. There is no reason to put your victory points lower because at minimum, matchmaking for player bases is your level. Even if your victory points drop lower than 260, the bases will still spawn around level 26. But if they go higher, it determines the base spawn. So for me, it's around level 43, plus minus couple levels. So 45, 44, 43, 42, 41. After a day, you can reroll them, so there is a hope to get something easier. And occasionally, what's worth keeping, you can find a base when there is HQ up on front. The reason for that, they want to lose victory points. And in case of this player, we can see it's level 46, 259 victory points. So this player is attempting something that's not possible. Even with successfully losing victory points, this player will not get easier enemies. So what they need to do, they need to improve offense. Like stop upgrading defense. They upgraded a lot. They're not even using now. They need to improve offense as they will not get enemies lower than level 46. So upgrading offense is important. Now second, because it's always dropping 2 victory points when you attack a player, keep on your map only players that are rich in resources. Now let me switch account. What to do if there is no resource-rich players? Don't attack them. Don't just attack them to clear them. It's the biggest mistake that will push your victory points. What you can do, like you can inspect and let's say that's not enough resources, you would like something more. After a day, you can find a new opponent. It may be someone with more or less resources. It's not guaranteed, like this one is more. So it's better. So you can change enemies until you get the ones with lots of resources and only attack them if they have lots of resources. If they do not, reroll. If you reroll into something that still does not have lots of resources, don't ever attack. It's the biggest mistake. Even if you need to put your upgrades on hold, it's better not to attack if your victory points are already high above your level. There is one more implication from victory points. Your resource bases, if you want to hold them, the matchmaking versus opponents that will compete with you for a particular resource base is determined as well by victory points and your level. So for me, because on this account I went as well too high with the victory points, I'm level 20. But for resource bases, I will be competing with players level 30, 31, 32. And it's very unlikely you win and keep your resource bases. So you are losing even more resources by pushing your victory points. Attacking the blackguard bases is mostly okay, as you may see. Usually it's 1 victory point, but sometimes it is 2. So you need to be aware, and how often it will be 2 is determined in similar way. There is 2 by your victory points, but opposite here. More victory points you have, less likely you are to get 2 victory points from a blackguard base, from the NPC one, easy one, as they always have very little resources, unfortunately. But giving 1 victory point, they taking away 1 victory points when they appear on your map, they give you 1 when you conquer them. So for most part, they have no effect on your victory points. As well, all the events when Dr. T appears on your map and so on does not affect your victory points. So, to summarize, do whatever you can to try and keep your victory points around your level. That's the secret of successful growth of the account in Boom Beach. As well, focus on offensive statue that will reduce the casualties you may have, and if you cannot gather enough resources, it is better to switch for even more resource reward statue. Focus on blackguard bases, as you always will be able to defeat them, even if you need to remove everything else and just put resource reward in order to keep in check your victory points versus your level. If you don't do that, you will have a very hard time in the progression, especially later on when you will be level 30, 40, and you push your enemies to be level 60 with impossible for you defense to defeat. And you will need to rely on the chests from the map, and that will be all that you can get, those chests from victory points. And later on in the game, when you level up, those victory chests will be even harder to get, because if you are level 50, those blackguard bases need 100 minutes to appear. So it's like 2 hours of wait time. 2 hours of wait time. It maxes out at level 60 and 2 hours of wait time to be exact. So then you will be able to get only 1 victory point from blackguard bases per 2 hours, which is not enough to even open your chests later on. It's even more important to keep your victory points in check. This is example of an account that is growing fast. Victory points are just a little bit above my level, which is not causing any problems, and there is a proper focus on a lot of resource reward statue. If I boost them all, I will get around 300% bonus resources, so 1 base is equivalence of 4 bases without those. Therefore, no problem getting resources, no need to push victory points high, and continuous upgrades are possible. And that being said, I hope this video is helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions, and see you in the next one.